Praise the Lord. Yep. What a way to start the morning. It's a Wednesday morning. The date is the 18th of May 2022. Peace 104.3 Kokrokoo Jimedi Enuni. I don't pay the master with my fiddy at Peace 104.3. Already a friend Samuel Abdullah Jinapo Oye Mrashe Bedreni Emma Damongo was also a minister lands and natural resources fiti enran Hong Kong Abba Bedremu Bibre. Abu Maje.
Junior Chairman.
Boko dear.
You could
Me too, ne crash or bread. Now, I don't know to watch water first.
Yo, Chama Medasi, my main chair with tea for so. Senior to do name, no. And no, I'm a pie, we hope baby. In that way, in your calls, no message be brave. Say, you didn't say, I'm penny, Everton at your water first. Na me ne kreni efitiate no na me fan shira nyanse be koduru mpempensu bi ne ho se be bia asem ne kono se ya me chechi ma e be hatwi ti ye press conference that day hun se na tuja na obisa me se one ma chechi mo kakra
mpacho yo
na me se asem aye kan if you are 1921 ana ya dia amanti aban bebre so abedu san pempensui na minim so pa se enipa bebre wo Ghana ha omuna nanom sa se kwan fa so diti ye any compensation ne ho sense nyina no ade a touch my heart me as minister for land so for me so bibia mapopo me kokoda say asase see the particular issue of Old Family and Achimota Forest began from 1921.
1921.
21, yeah. 1921. On 16th December 1921.
More than 100 years ago.
Yes. The Gold Coast government made, under a public lands ordinance 1876, acquired from the Old Family a parcel of land on which the Achimota School is situated today. Then in 1927, specifically 17th May 1927, the then Gold Coast government acquired land approximately 479 hectares as an extension to the Achimota School. Okay. Then, on July 17, 1930, the colonial government designated the 1927 acquisition as a forest reserve. And the purpose for the forest reserve was for purposes of fuel wood plantation for Achimota School. In other words, they were going to do this forest reserve and they'll be harvesting the wood as fuel for Achimota Forest. You know, those days they used to do a lot of...
You mean for Achimota School?
Achimota School, sorry, for Achimota School.
And
so there were two acquisitions, 1921 acquisition and 1927 acquisition. The 1927 acquisition in 1930 was converted to a forest reserve.
Not just any colonial government there, no assassin ye owu ebusuya dia. Okay.
1921 acquisition, no, mutual compensation. 1927 acquisition, no, there's no record that compensation was paid. Okay. So in 2007, Owu family petitioned President Kufuor at the time.
And about 2007, Owu ebusuya no President Kufuor.
Petition.
Said
and say the kind into compensation for the 1927 acquisition. The Tosumienu Assassina colonial government no 479 hectares. Part of Assassina the forest reserve as Achimota Forest. And no smaller than the 479 hectares. Na Niakano, ya find what the lawyers will say, the originally intended purpose for which the land was acquired.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I say, no, young fine forest reserve, properly so called. Obesha 1961, Nkrumah by APB. I'm a near Gimpa. Honor Gimpa. Gimpa, it is within the 1927 acquisition.
Ain't he Achimota Forest assassin the idea Gimpa?
Sanity.
To assumit you.
Forestry Commission headquarters. Forestry Commission regional office. Forestry Commission residency. Accommodation. Earthquake monitoring center. And several other installations. Anna, the private developers so encroaching on the land or and dying assassin. In the old family for argument in 2007, they say, more enjoy a compensation. But this one fine forest is there, one for India, more than acquire Gimpa, more than acquire, more than acquire. A man for so to chance as any be a fact. And near Akano. All the literature refers to it as a peripheral part of Achimota Forest. Monsanfa had their mind. We the pre-acquisition owners. Okay. And I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with these issues, pre-acquisition owners of land in Accra and several other parts, as petition upon petition upon petition. And the President Kokrokoo is 30 committee. On 24th November 2008, Abayano acting to the then Minister of Lands, Forestry and Mines, entered into an agreement with the Owu family to release the peripheral portions of the land to the Owu family for 99 years. And Oman we said to Mano, Anna President Mills buy. President Mills buy 2011 from the Owu family for a petition, Honorable Mike Hammer, then Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Honorable Mike Hammer, SAT App Committee. On SAT App Committee, normal Chief Executive Officer of the then Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, Mr. Samuel Afaridati, on chair committee. Afaridati chair committee, no more and I quote, the committee, after its investigations, concluded that the request of the Owu family was legitimate. And also, Omanwi, Anna, President Mahama, Ebaye. President Mahama Baye, Anna, Owu family for a Saturday petition, President Mahama. And President Mahama adopted Samuel Afaridati's committee's report. He accepted it. And on 5th September 2013, the then President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, gave executive approval for the conversion of the forest reserve, which is the Achimota Forest itself, that we all know. The conversion of the forest reserve into an ecotourism park, and to release the peripheral portions of the forest reserve to the Owu family in accordance with the recommendations of the committee, in this case, Afaridati's committee.
2013.
2013, in fact, 5th September 2013. And then, pursuant to the said executive approval, the Forestry Commission, acting on behalf of the then President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, executed 3 leases in September 2013, granting these portions of the forest reserve to the Owu family for a term of 99 years. So the subject matter of this controversy, a lease was executed in favor of the Owu family as far back as September 2013. It doesn't end there. The family then registered the land in its name and granted sub-leases to other private developers with the consent of the Forestry Commission. So a lease was granted to them.
Opache say, Yema, Owe Bushian Krata, to me Krata, say, as I say, your model for 99 years. Now, and year 2013.
Sir?
And now almost so Eddie Assassin be Amaman for some of Fania Juma.
Sir? Now, before I even proceed, let me, I mean, say, at the Oman Penny Mahama here, me Fuaso, meaning the yard, say, no quiet, no. We said Juma, Oman Penny for ye, Juma, President Mills, Minister for Lands here, and in the also be in respect of the Owu family. I have no quarrels with it whatsoever. Anyway, enti omunya lease no chairman ordinarily semi private citizens and I may know why land transaction mama lease you don't need a buying approval. You go to Lands Commission straight away, land title registry, and then you register your list. So in the normal course of dealing, own family will not have needed anything more than what they got in 2013. They would have just proceeded to Lands Commission, land title registry, and then a whole Ombakonya land title. But why did we have to do what we have done? Or why couldn't they go to Lands Commission?
About the same.
I went to Manco Lands Commission. I'm going to for Omokrata, the Amo 2030, Yamo 99 year lease. Say Omokako, my Lands Commission for a creature could say, Omonia title. Now after the assassin, I omodi. The intro Muntiminia San say 1930 or the 31 of the 1930 legislation, Cap 157, classified the whole enclave as forest reserve. Until the 1930 legislation is amended to declassify the peripheral portions of the Achimota forest, which is not the Achimota forest, which is not part of the Achimota forest. Baby, I am finding forest reserve. Until we amend the Cap 157 to declassify it and hand it over to the old family and designate it as a non-forest reserve. Old family point to me in your title.
Abun Patrojina, and Patrojina, I didn't in 2013, Senior Okana say, or Mampenio to John Dramadi Mahama Emma and Hokrata, I didn't in a Yanyasa declassification.
And no party, Sebi, means to me, Yano, and I'm saying, Minim said, a Jumano Moyano, and Omer, and the Mufia by Mo, and answer Omer, this legal nuance. Because maybe Attorney General Honor. Many are calling Attorney General Diaconia, Baby Pre. Make my catch or say, make my drink, Nina may drink a yen legally. No, me could do Attorney General Honor, not such a degree. Many Attorney General call him back and forth there. If I'm not exaggerating, there must have been about 10 or 20 correspondences between myself and the AH on this matter. So I was guided. I was a normal BBOA, ye man, me here, you know. Me, I can say, dear me. And I'm saying, if dead, first of all, petition the buy, and I have to refer it to the various departments in my ministry. Eventually, I said, I don't Attorney General of advice. Now, Attorney General, the buy, you know, a church, and BBA there, PC, actually, MI, say, old family for 99 years, they cannot enjoy it until the 1930 legislation Cap 157 is amended to de-gazette this parcel of land as no longer being as water forest. But Chairman, over my choir, my tea at the back of the my minister for lands, I fit back where into my end, Sassing what you make. Over year now, colonial government for a year to acquire land. And to some extent, even the First Republic, President Nkrumah's government. And I'm saying, I'm not as you will hobby bring. Okay, so we see University of Ghana. University of Ghana, the important in a quiet. It's your more assassinate. The issue, no more assassinate. Look, over EI, the EI that established Lagos, you'll be surprised that the EI, the schedule to the EI, no assassinate. Echo all the way to maybe East Legon, to North Legon, Miami Bibli, and a settlement. Oko Kolebu, EI acquire Kolebua. You'll be surprised to know that a lot of townships, a lot of communities around Kolebu will be captured by that EI. Now, what you don't know is that Sobima will live in these catchment areas. If the EI which acquired that bigger parcel of land Krona trend at 20 amount for or if you want to use the word amount for encroaching on the land now. If that year is not amended, you cannot have title. You can't have good title to the land. That is the same situation with this Achimota forest issue. So what we did was EI 144. Well, now EI 144 no, and no, and such 1930 legislation no, say near the Ama own family for you, and yet forest reserve being. And I have to repeat, that is not the Achimota forest we know. That's not a part of the Achimota forest which has been planted or which is a forest. Okay. So the schedule is there. No. Paragraph 1. Paragraph 1 of EI 144, which is Forestization of Forest Reserve Instrument 2022. Paragraph 1 says that the land specified in the schedule to this instrument shall cease to be a forest reserve on the first day of May 2022. Chairman, and now say you appreciate a bought Achimota forest who bind. We insisted. In fact, I can tell you, make my catcher say, oh, family, no more lawyers. Now, almost happened. Negotiation back and forth, and suddenly the clause was him. It's not to say, you have clause 3 and she. Paragraph 3, sorry.
Paragraph 3 yesterday.
Paragraph 3 is titled Protection of the Ecological Integrity of an Adjoining Forest Reserve. And then the paragraph 3 says, 1. Despite paragraph 1, a person shall not A. take possession of, or B. carry out any physical development on the land specified in a schedule without the prior approval of the minister acting on the recommendation of the Forestry Commission. 2. The minister shall not approve any development on the land specified in a schedule unless the minister is satisfied that the development A. is in accordance with the master plan developed by the District Land Use and Special Planning Authority and approved by the minister, and B. does not adversely affect the ecological integrity of an adjoining forest reserve. And in say, the assassin crime mono, yet the way I shall in China, all family for a command will be assassin, and will be a diamond. Then me panic or quack will see a dying war. And Jenny Obama, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Senyamina no will be as Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. And so caught me pano. Now, ordering and crack a channel. Say, as I see a dema family for you, ye baby see dying. Minister no, ese o pensem na oya satisfied. Na oya satisfied say a daya ye baby sino ye di kind loose pa town and country planning and kind of town and country planning almost share no and then no boy bia. Eso osasu hu say a dino baby sino enko say Achimota forest enko say forest reserve no memma on fatu say obi akase obabi si factory obi si factory baby di bebre na che say no mane emo ewo Achimota forest mu nyina no de be pamo mo eno sa no it will compromise the ecological integrity of an adjoining forest reserve any say minister no peneso and now obi so baby mercury manufacturing factory. Now, mercury manufacturing factory no leakage be free maba. Leakage no free ma ebe kwa Achimota forest mu. Ebe akukumu dua no ho. Eni se minister no ema kwan. Na chairman, ye wie nka amendment na ye 1930 no. By legal implication, e kire se baby bia any schedule of EI 144 nim no. Sa baby ni na continue to be a forest reserve automatically. That's in fact that's a automatic legal implication or outcome of this amendment. That is why we are amendment now. It's all this schedule attach surveyors for coho, echo yes survey, being that we never family for her. And she said, baby Pia, a 1930 let's name arm basketball way more. And car, yes, you bet my die, wants to say, Sabi, Sa baby no, and cat, all family for us, a forest reserve. Then so, and I'm saying, near Percy bought Achimota forest home by tea. Now, I say, we so again, a baye debate Cassia, the home commodity, Dimusio, Yenye, for Dimuseme, and Ye, who is here. And I'm saying, Percy bought Achimota forest home by tea. We went the extra mile, and I will say, somehow, a needless mile, a needless measure. Adi ananka sebi mremu na nche de idia then so ye pese obia dwene mu tene no na ekina nko ye meka ne ebi mu kase be ton Achimota forest ntino ye sa so ekopa promulgate EI 154 titled Forest Achimota Firewood Plantation Forest Reserve Amendment Instrument 2020. Just a page also. Whereas under Section 2 of the Forest Act 1927, Cap 157, the President may constitute an area of land as a forest reserve. Whereas under the Forest Achimota Firewood Plantation Forest Reserve, Order 1930, Order number 31 of 1930, issued pursuant to Section 2 of the Forest Act 1927, Cap 157, the government constituted a parcel of land containing an approximate area of so hectares as a forest reserve. Whereas following a petition submitted to the office of the President, the then President John Dramani Mahama on 5th September 2013 gave executive approval for the conversion of a portion of the forest reserve into an ecotourism facility and the release of the peripheral portions of the forest reserve which have been adversely impacted by human activities to the Owu family, the owners of the land before the acquisition of the land for use as a forest reserve. Whereas the President of the Republic, in this case the current President, is satisfied that the remaining portion of the land specified in the schedule should remain as a forest reserve. And whereas the President of the Republic is satisfied that the ecological integrity of the land specified in the schedule should be protected. Now, therefore, in exercise of the power conferred on the President by Section 2 of the Forest Act 1927, Cap 157, this instrument is made this 21st day of April 2022. Declaration of land remaining as forest reserve. 1. The land specified in the schedule to this instrument is declared to remain as a forest reserve. That's Achimota Forest. Protection of the ecological integrity of land remaining as forest reserve. A person shall not carry out any physical development on any adjoining land that is likely to adversely affect the ecological integrity of the land specified in the schedule. Signed by myself and dated, it is there, dated 21st April 2022. But yesterday, very, very instructive. Yesterday, what was put in circulation was EI 144. And conveniently, for whatever reason, I don't know, EI 154 was shelved. So what everybody was...
And why did 144 banana near shelved 154?
Meet me who Chama, whatever. Near echo abonte nanti baby security Facebook and I'm for you Mushishomo, EI 144, EI 155, both of them have been gazetted, both of them with the Ghana Publishing Company. EI 154 was not put in the public domain because once you read EI 154,
but whose responsibility was it to put it in the public domain?
I did. That's why I held the press conference. But I'm saying the leak. What was leaked was EI 144, which is what caused the panic. Because go ahead, please.
Ain't he say EI 144 no and a day in some be two drama say a Achimota Forest. Na EI 154 na ma. Na me maybe so we say menye minister. Send ye nim as Achimota Forest. A wo ka senye no ni atona. Into what has been sold? That is, if anything has been sold at all.
So first of all, there's even no sale.
There's no sale.
There's no sale. The notion that something has been sold, no, is totally wrong.
Ain't it Dania?
Oh, family for no, mom. The usual what pre-acquisition owners, allodial title owners, any. Release of lands to those people. The land has been released to them. It's not been sold to them. That's number one. Number two, what has been released to them is 300 acres of land.
300 acres.
And that 300 acres of land is what the technical people refer to as the peripheral portions of Achimota Forest. Not Achimota Forest as we know it. Not the Achimota Forest we all know, with trees there and all of that. No. As I sought to explain, the acquisition, the 1927 acquisition was a bigger acquisition, 479 hectares. Not all of it was used as a forest reserve. And as I've been explaining, Gimpa is in the 1927 acquisition. Forestry Commission headquarters, 1927 acquisition. In fact, a lot of private development, 1927. In fact, 1921 acquisition in Okrano, which is the Achimota School. And also, I send my dame me tables, the decks is here, because development be we will see communities don't come boy, but townships, people have built their private homes. They've bought land through all kinds of means and built their private homes in the 1921 acquisition. In fact, there's even the claim that the Achimota Golf Course is in the 1921 acquisition. And also, you are there, Achimota School for Penny for who's are called all the way to Supreme Court, Akwaba Degree. In the 1927 acquisition, is a bigger parcel of land than the Achimota Forest has been done. So it is that part which is not the Achimota Forest that is being given to the Owu family.
Inti assassin originally Owu Ebusuya assassin.
Sir.
Now, inti ya nimno based on Yawakano, Achimota School, Achimota Golf Course, Game Park, Forestry Commission, and then Yakika Hunina originally Owu assassin Achimota Forest ni na aka ho.
Yes, 1921, no, old family for. 1927, old family for. You mean your old family? Money a year to make 1927.
Now, are we saying, sir, Achimota Forest? Near Krata, would you have to EI 144, EI 155? Achimota Forest, a Dasu ho.
A Daho and Hokra. If I were why, ye be Achimota Forest and Catano. And the ancient I bet you tree shrubs, this animal. If you buy you, maybe bring the woman.
But Abu say near Econina, no so tie and Koma Equa. Mpanyufobi, Incrofobi, no ebia a man for the need any idea momina. When you now social media and traditional media could be crack patches say Maton Achimota Forest. So how come say Sanko could do baby Edri?
Chairman, as someone would be saying here, it's $1 million question. So say it's a public relations issue. That's how I see it. Now, will be the way 144 children. Wow, till baby, we need background, we need information, and maybe we need. Sebi, one shot, obey this Yaton Achimota Forest. Now, Oshe Spain, so I did too. So, from 1st May, that will cease to be a forest reserve. Minimum, they may be said to make cancer. Then, so be away, be said to more, or yet to say Yaton Achimota Forest. No, also, no, me monosobo. Now, yeah, a Kobayane say, Sebi, a bit too, and a Dabaco. Within 2 or 3 hours, I held this press conference and I said the record straight. And I'm telling you, in all modesty, we are on concrete grounds.
Okay.
Achimota Forest is not being sold.
Achimota Forest is not being sold, but Unimbibi, okay, BBC could be a public relations problem. As sector minister, it is obvious you didn't engage enough, you didn't communicate well, and that is why we are where we are. Oji Tumuza. Well, let me defer that question. Debbie, you won't defer because Debbie, because what you're doing now is firefighting. Mwasu January, and if na mudi eche na mo church say Janifa say ebi amone omanfo din kita ho earlier say na uchechi muni adia ebi ayenru say esa ne say obi ti say Kofi Bentil or a lawyer ni or Imani or a vice president or the Namsawa to Achimota Forest, and one cannot blame him. There are other people who are saying the same things. Say Nkamudin Kita home, public engagement, stakeholder engagement, proper communication. We won't be where we are. And now person will defend, person will be defend.
Well, but first of all, I don't know. I don't enjoy engaging individuals and their views and opinions. But Kofi Bentil was my classmate in the law school. And he's a very good friend of mine. He's a brother, actually. With what has come out, he has to do the honorable thing and to consider he got it wrong. Because he was very categorical that Achimota Forest is being sold. Achimota Forest is not being sold. So he has to do the honorable thing to concede that he didn't have sufficient information. That's why he came to that conclusion. And having been given this more broader information, he thinks that the conclusion he came to was wrong. But that's not really the issue. We'll take lessons, we'll learn lessons out of all of this. Perhaps before the publication of EI 154 and EI 144, we probably should have put out a press statement to explain what we've done and what is being done, or do a press engagement or stakeholders engagement, whichever way. That I will concede. But that said, it certainly will not derogate from the substantive fact and the substantive point that Achimota Forest has not been sold, will not be sold, and indeed, since it came up, we put out the information out there, and the information incontrovertibly, beyond reasonable doubt, establishes that Achimota Forest is not being sold. Chairman, but having said that, let me just point one other thing out to you.
Mitina, maybe some last question.
Background now. The issues were segregated into two, from President Mills' time to President Mohammed's time. There was a program for Achimota Forest itself, and there was a program for the peripheral portions of Achimota Forest. Peripheral portions of the Achimota Forest, that is, the land that was not used as a forest. The forest reserve itself, the government has signed a contract with a company called Akins Capital or something. Let me see.
Government of Ghana?
Yeah, government of Ghana, that President Mahama. And this is not a political, I'm just giving the facts, the bare facts. And as I say, I don't fault the government of the day for some of the things they did at all. But I think I'll find you the name of the company. But I think it's Akins Capital also. To transform the Achimota Forest into an ecotourism park, the Achimota Forest itself. Maybe be a minister.
ICAN Capital, AIKAN, ICAN Capital Limited.
That is correct, ICAN Capital. There was a clear distinction between Achimota Forest and the adjoining land, which is what has been dealt with, adjoining land. And which is why you see, say, the executive approval President Mahama gave was in respect of the ecotourism park, which is Achimota Forest, as well as releasing the peripheral portions of the forest to the old family. I took the view that we should decouple them. Because the Achimota Forest, as we all know, is too sensitive, is too an important national asset for us to deal in it lightly. In the Achimota Forest in there, it should remain intact. And let's deal with the adjoining lands, the peripheral lands, and the old family issue, and which is what we dealt with. This Akins arrangement was to transform the Achimota Forest into an ecotourism park. Now, I don't know, I'm convinced, because ecotourism park will mean almost like a theme park, which in many cases will look like a lot of the ecological integrity of the forest reserve will be compromised. The trees and the rest will be compromised. Our thinking is just to transform the park into something like Hyde Park of London or Central Park of New York. We plant a lot of trees there. We have a lot of good quality trees, especially indigenous trees in the Achimota Forest. And then you have just proper pathways where people can jog in between there, and you have benches where people can sit. That's all. The least you can have in a park like that should be maybe a coffee-making place or water, where you can pick water, you can buy water. And therefore, the forest itself, the integrity of the forest, will be substantially preserved. That is where our thinking is. That's where the thinking of government is going. And you know Hyde Park, you know Central Park. It's a forest which has been done beautifully. Enjoy nature and so on and so forth. So that's what we want to turn Achimota Forest into. We don't want to sell it.
And no, it's not on the drawing board now.
And no, it's been discussed. We haven't gone far with it, but it's been discussed. That's the policy. That's the vision.
I see. Now, Mimi Sabium, 2007, and now we Busia at the Krate Dikan Koma President Kofa Krata for signed by President Mills Abai Ora Mike Hamam Reso, Krata for signed by President Mahama Abai so President Mahama Muye Juma Manikwechri a year nyombe. Na 2007, 2010, 11, 2013. Ayadian Komea Koswa, ye baby say why now? Say no pressure beneda MPP Abai so inti Mona Modik Mosa Achasia.
There's nothing like pressure.
It's
government work in progress. Every government is acts on matters like that, like President Kufuor's government acted on it, President Mills' government acted on it, President Mohammed's government. In fact, if they had petitioned President Akufo-Addo without all the work that President Kufuor, President Mills, President Mahama had done, I'm sure it would have taken us another 4-8 years to be able to go through all the motions. But in fact, if you want, what we had on our hands was a fair complete, was a transaction which was done, which was completed. Leases had been given, they had been granted, sub-leases had been given, the lease had been registered in the name of all families. And so it was just one final step left for all family to get justice as a result of their petition. And as I say, there is not a single government from President Kofo's time who took the view that they were not entitled to their request. Every government took the view that they are entitled to their request, and every government had acted upon it. So if you say, why did we have to do it? Was there pressure? There was no pressure. And this matter we've been dealing with this matter for almost a year now today. I have a whole file on it, the dossier on this, back and forth.
And almost a year. What I'm saying is that for almost a year now, you didn't engage, you didn't get a buy-in, you didn't communicate until Abedu Ebiadui.
Well, the question will just always be, it's a very tricky situation, you know.
Quite obviously.
Yeah, just doing work in good faith, out of good conscience.
Yeah, but in good faith, think of the optics. Think of how people will take it. Think of the perceptions that will come. And ayana in Kitahudi and ayana and famo ho papa ho. Me in Kitahudi me jumentina me bohosano.
Oh, in Kitahudi, chairman.
And a person say which muno, ebi are some of questions and answer maybe a chink of adreno. Ombenyanti asekaka.
In Kitahudi, me know is a bedrock of governance, which is being accountable and transparent.
So how come you're failing at that?
Which is why I'm saying that on hindsight, we probably should have just put everything out before even it went to the assembly press for gazetting. But better late than never, which is why I'm spending a lot of time this morning to engage with, because I appreciate that we have to engage in Kitahudi here and that we have to be accountable to the people. But what also gives me a lot of satisfaction is that this is a transaction and work of government totally above board. On the contrary, I can't say we should be commended. I think that would be.
I don't think anybody will commend you.
Yeah, that would be totally outrageous to call for. But on the contrary, we were working to protect the people's assets, the Achimota Forest. And you will see from the record that everything we did from beginning to now, we had the protection of the Achimota Forest in mind. And we also need to, Chairman, it's also important. Something people don't pay attention also to the justice or otherwise of the family. People come to these land issues passionately, Chairman. I'm Minister for Land. You should see people who old men who work, 80-year-old men, 85-year-old men, they are walking still, climbing 3-story stairs to my office and telling very painful stories and almost tears. How their lands were taken, compensation was not paid, and so on and so forth. It's a myriad of them. We are even having to think about how we can find a better framework to resolve all of these issues holistically. And it's across the country. So the whole family and what is just, what is due them, what is not due them, I think that also has been interrogated. Have they been treated fairly? Have they been treated justly? Those are also matters that we have to examine.
Now you're sounding like a lawyer for whole family.
Am I?
The way you're talking about fairly and justly. But
yeah,
the bottom line is that Ose Achimota Forest, as we know it to be, is not being sold.
At all, it's not being sold.
Well,
there's not even a sale anyway. In the case of the Wu family, nobody sold anything to them. Land is being released to them, and it happens almost on a monthly basis where government releases land to pre-acquisition owners. And it didn't start from today. It began from President Nkrumah's time. In fact, the colonial government's time, where land is being released to pre-acquisition owners over and over again.
Major Achimota Forest na asem no for now because me fan say me questions and person be san wachechi mu me hu say bia me lines no so bia so far any other questions or person be saw e wo ho nti e no for now until something else comes up and me feel say you say inya nchichi me feel but Mr. Jinapo answer na be kono quick one Bulgarian embassy akosi say I like that one home so
so Bulgarian embassy senior when you know assembly by no me consider Justice Oforiata.
Yeah.
In name Justice Oforiata or Jaja, what we did lawyer Libya, the catcher, very distinguished judge. He literally pleaded with him. He was reluctant or to the baby or train or enjoy his retirement. But me partner chose me here will be his own. I don't know why chairman of Lands Commission was Ashanti Region.
Yeah.
A brand new High Court judge is at the same way be bring. It makes sense to on measure share same way no money. Someone did tell me yes, and say, Bibi says, yeah, will be a Canadian. Wait to see. And she said, who was one for crown? In a swap band, I would be you would do my crown. In other words, what are the facts? What are the incontrovertible facts? What happened? You are not able to tell. So I got the judge to be the sole inquirer to get into this matter. Now, thankfully, Juma no come, he brought me a 149-page report.
Wow.
Yeah, very detailed. They wrote a report like a judgment, if you want, with all the evidence, the question and answers and everything in there. And he came to the conclusion, 3 fundamental conclusions. The first one, that there are 3 pending cases before the courts in respect of this parcel of land. And the second one, he gave me the full facts on how the land is traveled. It began the land was acquired in the colonial government's time. I don't have the report here.
Okay.
Colonial government's time, that's when the land was acquired. And then I think in 1960 or 1970, in the 1960s or 1970s, the land was given to the Bulgarian. The land was given to a private citizen. One chief was Leighton or something. I'll just check if I can find the report. And then subsequently, this chief Leighton granted a rent, 4-year rent to Bulgarian embassy. Then subsequently, they gave Bulgarian embassy 50-year lease. PNDC, I think in 1990, took the view that the 4-year rent plus the 50-year lease together forms 54 years. And so it breaches the law of Ghana, which doesn't allow foreigners to have a lease of 50 years. Okay. So they declared the lease of the Bulgarian embassy null and void. Moving forward, I think in 2008, Attorney General Jogate was petitioned, and he re-looked into the matter.
Why the petition Jogate?
The Bulgarian embassy.
Bulgarian embassy, okay.
Yes. So 2008, Attorney General Jogate looked into the matter and took the view, say, decision of the PNDC to declare the lease null and void is irreligious, it's wrong. And restating Bulgarian embassy for lease, and the Bulgarian embassy for register on lease. Then, subsequent to that, the Mr. Lead passed, I think. One Jojo Hagan became the executor of his will. The executor then granted the residual of the lease, the 50-year lease, because they had 99 years. So the residual will be, 40-something years, to a third party. Litigation ensued between Mr. Hagan and the third party. Judgment was given in favor of Mr. Hagan. Mr. Hagan then uses that judgment to go to Lands Commission as though it was a judgment between him and the Bulgarian embassy in respect of this parcel of land, which is the subject matter of...
Is that not fraudulent?
The sole inquirer thinks so.
The sole inquirer thinks it's fraudulent?
He thinks it's... I'm not too sure the words he used, but that's what he said with the sanction, Mr. Hagan. He thinks it was not in accord with due process or fraudulent. He uses words like that. I don't have the report here.
Okay.
So I don't want to say what he didn't say. But anyway, that is what happened. So the sole inquirer looked at all of this and come up with 2 recommendations. The first one is that we should sanction Mr. Jojo Hagan in respect of this procedure he used to get the Bulgarian embassy's title cancelled or withdrawn. And then the second one is that I should use my good offices to try and mediate. In the meantime, remember that there's a 3 or 5-story building which has been built on the land already. Okay. So what have I done? What I have done is that I've announced this to the country. I've brought the reports. I've published the executive summary of the reports. And I've also said that in respect of recommendation 1, I've written to the Attorney General for his advice. So the Attorney General will have to advise me. And then in respect of recommendation 2, I'm going to use my good offices to try and mediate. So the ambassador of Bulgaria to Nigeria with concurrent accreditation to Ghana is actually meeting me this afternoon. And I'm going to begin the process. I'll meet the other parties too, and we'll see how we can work something out. I'm hoping I'll be able to achieve, in the words of the Sole Inquirer, an amicable solution or resolution of the matter.
So what happens
if I'm not able to do that, I will wait for the determination of the cases in court.
And so what happens to Jojo Hagan?
I'm waiting for the advice from the AG.
On what sanctions?
Yes, on what he makes of it. So the AG has a full report. He will also have a look at the report, and then he will give advice accordingly. That's how it should be done. Minister, before you take a step like that, your Attorney General has to advise you. So that is standard practice. So I've sought for his opinion.
I see. And when who wrote Kujeta Black NDC Nyoma Trafa that you're protecting, you are not taking full I'm gonna say if I brought for you, I'm gonna say it's a farcical cover-up of a sordid affair. A preposterous attempt to shield state officials who have done great damage to our country's image in a committee of nations. And that report now, Banum, as you're trying to protect Ubi, I'm say your friend no Dr. Yao Edu Ampoma, I was asking me when I'm with Jojo Hagan, I scapegoat. Well, it's out there, and
right.
No, it's a full minority statement by the NDC caucus in Parliament, and on patches, Bulgarian embassy was illegally demolished under your watch. Now, Munya Honshe published one full report of the Sole Inquirer. You are not identifying complicit officials of the Lands Commission for sanction. Now, Dr. Edouan Pomebi Omabunidin say it looks like you're protecting him because Omujidi say he had collaboration from state officials and national security officials near there. I don't know if this has come to your attention, and I don't know if there's anything you want to say to it.
There's a lot I want to say to it, Chairman.